Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mercury. So today, the snow is falling. The snow is falling, it is chilly out, and when it's chilly out, it is soup kind of weather. Yes, it is a cooking day and we are gonna cook some soup. So today I'm gonna do a recipe review. So I found this recipe on a website called 101 Cookbooks. So I'm gonna do it almost exactly as written. I am making one change. There is a part where it calls for water. I'm actually gonna use vegetable broth. I have it and I think it'll make it a little richer and a little more flavorful. But I think other than that, that's the only modification I need to make to it. So excellent. So we're gonna try this soup out and see how it is. So you know what that means. To the kitchen! So we're gonna start with our ingredient lineup, and these are actually the toppers that are on the side. So I have some scallions and some chives and tofu, and those are gonna be toppers for the soup. But then this is the vegetable broth I said I was gonna substitute for water. I have an onion. Obviously we need broccoli. I have serrano peppers and coconut milk, garlic, and a glove for the peppers. The glove is for the peppers. Let's talk about it. So I have never worked with this type of a pepper before. I don't really know the heat index on it, but I had a really bad experience with jalapenos once. So this is my cautionary tale. So learn from my mistakes, right? I was making a recipe that called for jalapenos. And I was like, I eat jalapenos. They're not that hot. My friends, no. Cooking with a hot pepper versus eating a hot pepper after it's been prepared and some of the enzymes and whatnot have cooked out, two totally different things. I found this out the hard way, and it led to me having to have my hands, both hands, in a bowl full of yogurt for like 2 hours. It wasn't fun. Don't do it. If you're gonna work with hot peppers, just wear gloves. Please wear gloves. Don't do what I did. Wear gloves and things will be much better. So because I don't know the heat index of these particular peppers, I have the glove as a precaution. So better safe than with your hand in a bowl of yogurt. That's my cautionary tale. Okay, that being said, I'm gonna start prepping the veggies. I have to chop up the broccoli, chop up the onion and the garlic, and get all that stuff ready to get into the pot. So now my veggies are all prepped. I have this huge mountain of broccoli here. Look at this. This is a lot of broccoli. So I have that. And then over here, I have my garlic, my onions, and that hot pepper right there. At least I think it's a hot pepper. Erring on the side of caution here. So I was wearing my gloves when I cut that up. Also remember, the seeds are the hottest part. So it's like, be super careful and make sure that like you're cleaning up very well, because like you could transfer the heat. So like if the hot stuff touches one thing and then you touch it and then you touch it, you could transfer it. Be super careful if you're working with spicy peppers. Like they don't play around. They really don't play around. Anyway, we're gonna go over to the stove now. We're gonna saute everything that's on this plate here. That's all gonna get sauteed first. Once that sort of like softens up a little bit, that's when we're gonna add all of our liquids and the broccoli. And also, I forgot to mention in the ingredient lineup, there's also spinach in this. I forgot to pull the spinach out, so I gotta go grab that too. But yeah, the broccoli and the spinach going together after the liquids. And that's what I'm up to. I'm gonna add in some salt. And I'm also putting in the coconut milk. Stir that around a bit. So while that's coming back up to temperature, I'm just gonna clean up a little bit, but once it gets a little bit bubbly, I'm gonna put all the broccoli and the spinach in. Okay, now the broth is warmed up. Time for the broccoli. Let me do a few at a time so I don't make a big splash. Because, yeah, I could see this making a huge splash if I'm not careful. Oh, that's so much broccoli. So much broccoli. And then with the broccoli, I have spinach. And this was frozen spinach. It's what I had, so that's okay. And let me try to get this all into the liquid. Otherwise it won't all cook. That looks like a lot of broccoli for the amount of liquid. Huh. That's a little concerning. Maybe I didn't cut it little enough. Okay. Well, let's see what we can do here. Let's push this broccoli in. So it says to let this cook until the broccoli is tender, and then to take an immersion blender and like blend it all up. So I'm a little concerned because not all the broccoli is submerged. So I'm just gonna sort of keep a close eye on it, toss it around a little bit, and help it along to its tenderness. And then I'll get the immersion blender out. So one thing that's not super clear in this recipe is what to do with the tofu. It says at the end of the recipe to like sprinkle with tofu and the chives and the other stuff. But personally, like, tofu needs to be zhuzhed up a little bit. It needs a little something. It needs a little pizzazz, if you ask me. So I gotta do something about that. So I think I'm going to drain and dry my tofu while the broccoli is getting tender. And I think I'm gonna pan fry it. And that way it'll have a little bit something. I'll put a little salt and pepper. Maybe some garlic, because there's garlic in the soup, a little garlic powder. We'll zhuzh it up. We'll give the tofu some flavor, because tofu will pick up flavors, but just to plunk it as a topper on a soup, it's not cooking with the flavors. It has to cook with the flavors to pick it up. So let's enhance it a little bit. So if you haven't worked with tofu before, it's actually pretty easy. Don't be intimidated by it. It's not bad. So what I'm going to do is along the edge, I'm going to just sort of cut this, because tofu is always packed in liquid. It's always packed in a water. So I'm going to just drain this through that little slit. So I'm just going to move this and drain it in the sink. Okay. Now that I drained it, I'm just going to cut along these edges here. And then I'm gonna get in here and just peel this back. And there's our tofu brick. So because it gets packed in liquid, if you wanted to have like a little bit of a crispness to it, you need to sort of like drain some of the moisture out. So this is how I do it. You get some paper towels and we put it on a plate, just like that. And I take this tofu and I'm gonna put it right there. Now I'm going to take a few more paper towels and we're going to just sort of blot. Blot and squish a little, but gently. You don't want it to like get deformed. And we just kind of blot. So once that first round of blotting is done, I take some more paper towels and I flip this over and I remove the wet paper towel. And then we put some more paper towel right on top. And then you want to take like a heavy object. I'm going to take my cast iron pan. And you just gently balance it right on top. And it's going to press some of that liquid out. And you just let it sit for a few minutes and it'll take care of itself. It's pretty straightforward. Just make sure you're not like squishing the tofu. You don't want it to lose its shape. But you want to press some of that liquid out of it. And then you just chop it into little cubes or whatever shape you want your tofu to be in right when it's done draining. So my tofu drained and I cut it into little tiny cubes. So now I'm going to take a frying pan, a little olive oil, and I'm just going to kind of like toss them around, let them cook with a little garlic powder, salt, and pepper. Also, the broccoli is almost tender. It's almost there. So I'm gonna get the tofu going, and then I'm gonna get the immersion blender, and we're gonna blend up the soup over here. So it's all done, it's all put together. When the soup portion of it finished and it was all blended, I gave it a little taste. My friends, it was very bland. It was very, very bland. It tasted like broccoli water. So I improvised and I added to it. I added, more salt and pepper because there clearly was not enough as indicated in the recipe. It definitely needed more salt and pepper. I also added in some Parmesan cheese. So this really helped give it more depth and more flavor, and it was more to my liking. My tofu, browned up very nicely. So I made a little sample cup for myself. So I'm gonna give it a taste. It's not a meal time, but I wanna see how it tastes all put together. So got a little sampling here. It's got the tofu, and it's got the chives and the scallions on top too. So we'll give it a taste all put together like this. So we'll get a little of everything on there. Got a little tofu, a little greenery. We'll give it a taste. It's very hot. Like temperature hot. I could get behind this. This could make a good lunch. Ooh, that chili on the back end. It's not hot on the front end, but on the back end, that Serrano chili. Oh, I felt that on the back end. That was pleasant and surprising. Let's give it another taste here. Yeah. With the additional salt and pepper and with the additional Parmesan cheese in it, it brought it back. It was easy enough to save. So my thoughts on the recipe as is, it's very bland. It needs a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Just gotta get it there. It's like the recipe as is like a good foundation. And then you are free to experiment and add and make it your own, is sort of how I'm looking at it. So with the Parmesan cheese and the browned up tofu, yeah. Oh yeah. It's so hot. Like it just came off the stove. It's still really, really hot. Yeah, I like that. This will be a good lunch this week. So I guess with that, I'm done for the night. I'll see you all real soon. And until then, stay inspired by everyone. Take care.